Petersky in Tucson again tonight.
Tonight, with the search for Nancy Guthrie now entering its third week and with the country still praying she's found, her daughter Savannah is making a direct appeal to the person who took her mother. 2 weeks of pain evident on Savannah's face.
And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is that it's never too late. Of every human being. And it's never too late.
The Today Show host who has spoken of the nightmare her family's going through, hoping the kidnapper will consider giving her mother back.
Consistent to what we were told by the family, that Nancy was dropped off at home, and we know that because we have a garage door open at approximately, I can't stress that enough, at approximately 9:48 p.m. At 9:50 p.m., that garage door closes, because that time we assume that Nancy's home and probably going to bed. Sunday morning, early morning at 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnects. At 2:12 a.m., software detects a person on a camera, but there's no video available. They had no subscription, and therefore it would rewrite itself. It just kind of loops, right, and covers up. That's what our analysis teams have told us. We're not done with that. We'll do all we can, but that's what it says. So it detects a person on camera. Could that be an animal? I imagine that's possible. We don't know that. We just have no video. But we're not giving up on that. 2:28, Nancy's pacemaker app shows that it was a disconnect from the phone. And at 11:56 a.m., the family checks on Nancy and discovers her missing. And at 12:03 p.m., 911 is called in to the Pima County Sheriff's Department. I believe it's about approximately 10 minutes later, 12
Mic check. There we go. Why did it do that? That's weird. Welcome everybody. Let me know if you can hear me in chat. I knew if I was gonna play with the settings, I'd do something. Okay, I think you guys should be able to hear me. Welcome everybody. Happy Friday, and as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Today we're going to cover the Nancy Guthrie case, which is day 32 or 33. Remind me in chat. And I thought we'd go over two main things. Wi-Fi jammer, was it used or is that a walkie-talkie? And I have arguments for both. And I've kind of swung back and forth. And then also the tattoo, I've always been interested in trying to figure out what that tattoo is. And I think I have an idea. I don't know if anybody else has presented a theory on what the tattoo might be, but obviously I think any kind of identification of the actual suspect in this case, or at least if there is one or more, but yeah. Let's see. Sounds good. Okay, awesome. And also the tattoo placement as well. Also, I was looking at ChatGPT on some certain stats and things to that nature on where people, especially on their arms, a lot of times they use their non-dominant hand to get a tattoo, which is interesting because I know there's been some debate on whether the person is left-handed or right-handed, and so we'll also talk about that as well. Okay, thank you guys. Okay, I'm glad you guys can hear me. I was playing with something earlier, trying to fix something, and I think we're all good here. But anyway, let's before we jump into all of that, I'm sure most of you guys know about this case. If you don't, the intro kind of basically broke it down, but I will just go over that real quickly. Nancy Guthrie on January 31st of this year went to dinner at her daughter's home, Anna Guthrie. She took an Uber there, and then they ate dinner, and I think they played some games. And
at
then
9:48 p.m., which is very consistent to.
I forgot I had his audio in there. And that was at 5:32 when she was dropped off. And then at wait for it here. 9:48 she is dropped off. And then and that was by the son-in-law Tommaso. And then just 2 minutes later, which a lot of people bring up, and that is a picture of the garage. 2 minutes later, the garage door closes. Some people bring that up as a red flag for someone. She's 84 years old, does have a little bit of trouble walking, something that could have been, wonder if that's a little too fast for someone in her condition to make it from the garage to however close the door is. And also, if it was possibly inside job, maybe close family relative, there is a door to the garage on the side there. Did he leave it unlocked for somebody else to come in? Although they do say that they have taken polygraphs, and they say everybody that is the close family relatives are cleared, but you never know. But anyway, and then we move on to at 1:47, the doorbell camera disconnects. But this guy clearly had been there at least earlier, dismantling this doorbell cam, which is a Google Nest camera. And then we have at 2:12, sadly, her pacemaker disconnects. I'm sorry. Actually, at 2:12, software detects somebody in the backyard. And then at 2:28 is when the pacemaker disconnected. And that is when she was likely taken from out her home. So here we are over a month later, and here is kind of the latest updates. I'm going to play this real quick.
Definitely closer to tracking down a suspect or suspects in Guthrie's disappearance.
Let me back this up just a little bit. Here's just a small clip of News Nation with Brian Enton, just kind of giving an update. I think this was today. Where's the tattoo? We'll get to that for sure. That's where he says he was caught lying. Interesting. Maybe we'll have to circle back to that. But yeah, Starlight, we will, I want to say Starlight because I'm thinking of a show. I'm sorry, Starbright. Yeah, we'll definitely get to the tattoo. But I thought we'd just go over kind of the latest updates and stuff. But the tattoo, we can see it's on the suspect's right wrist. And we'll go over what we can see of it and what, see what the chat thinks about what it could possibly be.
The mother of
let me go full screen on this. I want to check something real quick, so hopefully you guys can hear this when I go full screen. I want to make sure everything is working like it should.
Today Show host Savannah Guthrie vanished from her Tucson home on February 1st. And despite no breaks in the case, Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos is still optimistic tonight. He says investigators are definitely closer to tracking down a suspect or suspects in Guthrie's disappearance. Investigators have been poring over mountains of evidence, more than 40,000 tips, and tens of thousands of hours of surveillance video. But so far, every promising lead has gone cold. Our own Brian Enton is live in Tucson. Brian, there were some confusing reports out today, back and forth, about that glove found about 2 miles from the house and DNA results. Long story short, there's nothing there, right?
Yeah, it's sort of another DNA setback in this whole thing, Elizabeth. Remember, there was a big deal made when that glove was found 2.5 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's house, right on the side of a very, very busy road. It matched the description, according to the FBI, of the glove that the suspect was wearing in the surveillance video. Well, come to find out, the DNA results are now back, and the sheriff says the DNA on that glove connects back to a restaurant worker who works in this area, who has absolutely no connection to the Nancy Guthrie case. So that is yet another dead end. I was always a little skeptical of so many of these gloves because it seems like these gloves are all over the place. And that one in particular was right on the side of the road. Would the suspect have really just thrown his glove right on the side of the road? Again, turns out that one is not connected to the case. Meanwhile, Elizabeth, we're learning there's a bit of a refocusing and reorganization of the resources on the case. And I have some specifics tonight. There are now 4 detectives and 1 sergeant who are part of an FBI task force. They're from the Pima County Sheriff's Office. They are now working with the FBI task force, and they are the ones now working the investigation. And I'm told they're working from the FBI Tucson office. This is different from before, when it was pretty much every detective in the sheriff's office working the case. I just spoke to a sergeant with the Pima County Sheriff's Office, who's also the union president, had to sort of talk about this refocusing. This is what he said.
Everybody wishes that we had some hot leads that we're, the whole department's working, trying to run down to solve this quickly. So the fact that we're reducing the amount of manpower working it, it's hard to say what kind of sign that signals.
Is the task force a good sign? I mean, because I know there was we reported on issues between the sheriff and the FBI early on, but now that they're working on one task force, is that positive?
I hope so. I hope it's a more collaborative effort with the federal agency.
So the hope, Elizabeth, is that it
Yeah, after this live, I need to fix something. Something changed when I updated this. Thank you guys. You guys did not hear a single thing I said. All right. I'm going to have to remember when I switch back. I don't know why it's doing that. Anyway, I was just mentioning that the task force reminds me of Rex Huerman. They brought on a task force, and then they eventually caught the list killer. They would have probably caught him a lot sooner if there wasn't corruption in that case. But hopefully they do a good job. Yep, you can hear me now. Awesome. All right. There's that update, and then maybe we'll circle back to Joseph Scott. I love his analysis. We've seen him a lot with the Brian Koberger case. He's a blood analyst. Here's his credentials right there. We see him a lot in these high-profile cases. I love his insight. Actually, that's interesting you bring that up. A lot of people are interested in the tattoo. Maybe we should jump into that. I was gonna kind of save that towards the end. I don't know. Maybe it seems like a lot of people are. Let's go for the tattoo, and then we'll circle to the Wi-Fi versus a radio, which both have interesting topics. Because radio would mean I mean, who else? Why would you need a walkie-talkie when I mean radio? If you didn't have more than one suspect, either it's a walkie-talkie or a Wi-Fi jammer. So, and then the tattoo. But it seems a lot of people are interested in this tattoo. All right, well, we'll get into it. And see what you guys think. So, give me 1 second. Let me get caught up on the super chats real quick so I don't get behind. And then we'll jump into the tattoo. And Jazz, thank you as always for gifting a Mob Crew membership. She's very sweet. And the $20 Euro super chat. God bless you. If you're still here, thank you so much for your love and support. And always gifting the memberships. It's very sweet. Blue Third, good to see you. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. God bless you. And Mariska, hope you're staying in good health. Glad I caught a live. Blessings. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, doing better. A lot better this week. So, and I always try to look at the positive, and where I was at almost a year ago, let's see, we're at the beginning of March. If I recall, I think it was like the middle. It was a year ago, basically, when I was almost out for like 6 months with stomach issues. So, considering where I was at a year ago, I would say doing a lot better. So, thank you so much. But, Cajun Navy, I mean, yeah, anybody for sure. More people, manpower. I think they're looking more for forensic, but yeah, for bodies, yeah. If you're looking for a body, yeah, yeah, both those would be great. I haven't really looked at the surroundings as far as like lakes or bodies of water, but definitely. I mean, I'd hate for that to be the case. Let's see here. I'm skipping ahead. Had the Wi-Fi first, and then the let's see, the tattoo. But it seems like a lot of people are interested in that. All right, where do I have it? No, it's in here. Okay. So when slowing down the surveillance or the Nest Cam, we can see his right wrist is up here, and we see something here, tattoo, and we can see that it's almost kind of, see if that'll play by itself there. This is what I released earlier, but you can see it. His glove, for the most part, his glove and his sleeve, especially on the left hand here, as you can see, they stay together, but it seems when he's reaching out, it separates, so we can actually see some of the skin. And right here, we can see that there is some kind of color discrepancy, which means clearly there's something there, a mark. Birthmark, I mean, sure. I mean, it's good to look. There's also something over here on his other wrist, which I do think could be either a tattoo or it could be a birthmark. I think this more leans towards a certain of a rectangular box, and we see a bit of shadow right here. Yeah, if you notice, it's a little darker, and when I put it into the negative, you'll even see it even clearer as it reverses the light. and you can tell that there's definitely kind of like a shaded area, assuming this is a tattoo, but we don't see much else except for down here. And then when we look at the negative, we can also see the. So this is a really good shot right here, and you can see when we put it into a negative, we can see that it's got that kind of rectangular box, and then you got to think of the position. So the glove, right? So gloves usually will come. Most gloves are just kind of come to here on your wrist, and so whatever this tattoo is, I'm assuming. I mean, not to say you can't have your tattoo go all the way on your palm. This is probably the top of the tattoo. So with that deduction, whatever this is probably the top part of the tattoo. Then added in with the shade, and this is the big giveaway between obviously the rectangular box that we can kind of see, and there's just like one, maybe two frames, and this is one of them, where we can actually see that there is, as you can see, the white here, just above the sleeve, where it looks like that tattoo starts to appear again, or appear a little bit more. We see more of the tattoo again in the negative form here, and we can kind of see how it brightens up a little bit, and it almost appears as if there's something to start just at the sleeve. And in my opinion, and I mean so if we look at both of these in paint, and so here's a great side-by-side of both the negative and the regular, but you can really see the shadow where it's a little bit darker. We can see that it's still there, but there's that darker shaded area, and then this is where sometimes it's nice to have that negative shot, because it kind of brings it out a little bit more. You can see it kind of come out the sleeve a little bit here, but with the negative, it kind of makes it a little bit more pronounced, so it sweeps out a little bit. So then if we deduce that we're looking at most likely the top of this tattoo, right, considering where it is on the wrist, about here, that would be the top part. I think what we're looking at is we're looking at something like this, along with something that's coming out here. But then it also darkens right here in this area. And as we can, yeah, so, okay, so I seen, and I don't know how this came out. As a matter of fact, yeah, thank you, Hindsight, for sending this to me, because, wait, let me go to the non-negative. Oops, sorry. Hold on. I think you guys know where I'm going, because I had seen this. I think I have this image somewhere, but I realized that this, because the way they colored it, you guys have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. You may have seen this, but to me, this looks like somebody fed it through AI. Where is it? Hold on. Is it this one? No, see, this one. No, it's not that one. Anyway, there's another one where it's colored. This one actually looks. Anyway, I think some people may be running it through AI. I've seen where there's some where it says it looks like there's a design over here and over here. If I can find it here in a minute. But anyway, let's just focus on what we have now. I don't think what was the colored version, it doesn't line up with some of the folds in the glove, almost as if it was AI made or taken from something else, actually, even now that I'm looking at it. Anyway, let's not get distracted. But thank you, hindsight, though. I'm glad you sent that to me. If we get a chance, we'll address that, because if that was the case, we should see more of that design. It should just show right up. I mean, not super pronounced, but it should be there. And in my opinion, if we look at both of these in paint, I think what we're looking at is we're looking at something like this, along with something that's coming. And I'm sure a lot of you guys know where we're going. But then it also darkens right here in this area. And as we can see over here, although it does kind of look like it cuts over a little bit, I think that may just be kind of the shadowing a little bit. But if we get rid of those and we just take the outline, I think what we're looking at, plus with the shadow, I think it's going to be no surprise that what I believe we're looking at is some kind of cross tattoo. And this line's we're like getting perfectly almost with a shaded or a 3D kind of tattoo of the cross. And that makes sense of why it's a little bit darker on. And this would be kind of almost probably the best, not the perfect example, but probably a good example with it, because this on this guy, it's kind of the opposite way with the shadowing, kind of making it 3D. Yeah, that is AI. There's this color one that floated around, and yeah, I can tell like the glove and everything, like the crease and stuff. It doesn't line up with how it is. But anyway, they call it a Latin cross. Again, I have no tattoos. I'm no tattoo expert, so please, anybody, you're familiar with the cross, I mean, and not to get on the religion side of anything, right? I do believe in God, but I'm not, I don't have the right side, just like this, just the opposite way. Here's another good one that would kind of resemble what we may be looking at, where it's the. So clearly, with what we're talking about, this, with it where it's positioned, that would be the head of the cross, right? And then when his sleeve, there's that one, maybe two frames. I think it's really just one, where we can start to see, it cross out on the sides there, and shadow to make it look more 3D-ish. And I think considering where the wrist is at, I think this is towards the head of the cross. And we can almost see, and there's a couple of frames, about one or two frames, where we can actually see the extension. No, it wouldn't be upside down. The other part here, but I think this is the head of the cross, and the shadowing is of something of this sort. I guess kind of a shaded 3D tattoo, and that is what we are. I don't know, because if it was going down, again, I don't know, would you consider it upside down? Because if you're looking at it and you're showing it like it, that would be right side up. I mean, I guess if you're showing it, and you got your hand down, I guess it would be upside down. But looking for is somebody with possibly a cross tattoo on their bottom right hand wrist. But let me know what you think in the comments down below with the tattoo. But the two biggest components, well, actually three, obviously, is with obviously that we have whatever it is, it's a rectangular shape that we can see. The second one being that there's clearly a shadow that extends, which is common when making kind of a shaded or 3D kind of cross, very common Latin cross. And then you factor in the last one where we can actually see in one frame where the sleeve starts to come down, that we can see the part where it extends out left and right. And I think that's a pretty safe bet that it's a cross. It is one of the most common tattoos to get. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments too, and the Wi-Fi jammer. But you can really see it there. And as a matter of fact, if I were to I don't think I ever ran a much of a color addition to it. If you guys want me to. Oops, let me run it over here. Give me just a second. I'll rid of that. There we go. And we'll circle back to that. Okay. So we see it there. And if we were to maybe touch it up with a little bit of brightness. And the shadow. Right. Accentuate the black a little bit. You can really see it. You've got the shadow, extra little shade. And again, that's just one frame. Let's see if we let this play with the color. Oh, let me get rid of this comment. I'm sorry. That's probably blocking it. But yeah. I think it's a safe bet that that is a head of a cross. Very common. There's even an age range that you could even pull up. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments there. Yeah, I guess it all just depends on perspective. I mean, I guess if I was getting across, if I'm looking at it right, I would. I mean, just again, I've never had a tattoo, but I would think I would just get it so when I'm looking at it, like there's my tattoo, that's right side up for me. I mean, again, I guess it just all depends on how you interpret it and how you're presenting it. And I guess that works both ways, right? No matter which way which way the head of the cross is facing, no matter what the direction you are showing it or the perspective of the other person, it could be either or. Dagger, sure, yeah, dagger would be another one, Cindy. Yeah, Sure. I think that's another great uh possibility. Having a dagger, yeah, having that's kind of like the I wanted to say the hilt. The hilt is the other part, but yeah, you have the handle. I guess you'd have the handle here, and then you would have the hilt, which would be slightly concealed. The hilt would be the horizontal part of it, and then the blade. That's certainly possible. I guess. Common sword tattoos on right wrist with, well, let's not get too complicated. But yeah, you can see, and if you look, oh, here, actually, before we do that, well, we're already here. Oh, you can't see that one. 1 second. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible. Um, Obviously, there's so many. I mean, there's one where it's almost a cross and a sword. So, I mean, yeah. But you can see here, again, this person has it with the head being up towards his wrist. Um, Common cross. Let's just see. Which way do they usually go? So the head is usually towards the top of the wrist. Except for maybe here. That one's different, but head is that one. The head is towards the top of the wrist. Um, Same with that one. Head is towards the top of the wrist. I did see one that was the other way. Another person, the head is. I mean, I think that's again, that's a good possibility of what we're looking at, and right where it's at, really. It's just probably bigger. And assuming if it is a cross, it would have that 3D shaded effect to it. Um, but I just here, let me while we're doing this, and then we'll read chat for a minute. Nancy Guthrie suspect tattoo. Let's see. I only see that one. One you sent me, hindsight. I don't know why. If you sent that one via email, hey, there's my video. Why can't I find the colored one? Anyway, there's a colored one. And this is where AI is going to be a huge problem. I think some ways could be good and issues, but there's one that I've got on my phone that I've seen, and it shows that he's got a bunch of like, you can't see much, but it shows like it looks like he's got a bunch of tattoos, but it's not. It's AI. It's AI like trying to fill in, and someone probably put in like AI, can you try to color this image? And then it saw that there was some kind of like writing, and it just kind of garbled up some random ink that you really can't tell what the hell it is. But the uh, it's not the original photo colored, if that makes sense. AI just tried to interpret it, and that's where I think people can be taken advantage of. But I think that is. Sorry, I saw a comment. I wanted to read. A lot of people, yeah, tomato, yeah. Ooh, say that would be another way. I mean, if you could get, I'm sure the FBI even has a little bit. Clearly, would have something even better than what I have, what I'm capable of. I'm sure. That could probably enhance it a little bit more. Um, but just deducing where the position of what we can see versus the shape and design. Yeah, I think we could narrow it down to a cross or a sword. I think you could. I know that there's even like cross tattoos. They even they have like roses, obviously extra designs on them or around them. But to me, this looks like a basic, just again, in my opinion, a basic uh, kind of 3D shaded uh, Latin cross tattoo, which, according to Chat GPT, um, does have some interesting stuff about this. I won't go through all of it, but um, and I did feed it a bunch of information. Obviously, I can't get it to tell me. Yeah, it knows for sure it's a cross because I mean, obviously, we only have so much to go off, but um, uh, it is common. Latin crosses are obviously very common because religion. Um, Getting it on the wrist somewhere is very popular as well, which is kind of obviously, we'd want to find stuff that is more unique to the individual to make them stand out. This one I found interesting. They say men aged 25 to 45 are typically ones the age range of getting tattoos. Um, the other thing that I thought was very interesting is where is it? Oh, and I was just kind of looking at race and ethnicity because I was kind of curious about like, do white people get more cross tattoos versus Hispanic? Or, well, in this case, it's white and Hispanic because they make up literally, it's in Tucson specifically, it's almost 50-50 between them. And then black African American is less than 5%, Asian less than 3. And then I think in Arizona, the white goes up to about 50%, Hispanic goes to 30%. So a little bit of difference in statewide, but as far as the city, it's much closer 50-50. And so I thought it'd be interesting. Well, white versus Hispanic, since obviously those are the two main uh, races um, in that city. Uh, does one or the other get more cross tattoos? Unfortunately, according to ChatGPT, it says it's pretty even. So unfortunately, um, could narrow down, the white person, Hispanic, that they're both, uh, according to ChatGPT, fairly even. But I do wonder how much, obviously we can't entrust everything to ChatGPT or any AI. We always have to, it's always good to find, or when getting statistics. It's always nice to get, like a second opinion, um, and stuff like that. But one thing it did mention is that, and I don't know how true this is, but it did say that typically people get tattoos on their non-dominant hand, which is interesting. I almost actually want to just ask Google AI, is it more common to get a tattoo on your non hand? How do you get a tattoo on your or arm? It is generally more common to get a tattoo on the non-dominant arm. That is interesting. And that will play into a part that we'll talk about here in a bit as well, about what intruder uses when he comes in contact with the camera multiple times. But that's interesting. So anyway, let me see what the comments are, and then we'll move on to Wi-Fi jammer versus walkie-talkie. And I've gone back and forth on this, but anyway, I do think I have leaned more towards another. It could be a gang sign, Johnny. Sure. Claymore swords. Yeah, Claymore. Yeah. Yeah, I think you could probably narrow it down to a cross or some kind of sword type. Yeah. Usually when what kind of kings get on their arms? I put the wrong there, but that's okay. Of course so they usually get area code. Um, Obviously gang, whatever their gang is. Mexican mafia. I don't know. I think that'd be a big rabbit hole. But anyway, I think a cross is a good possibility. Could it be an anchor? Sure. I mean, yeah, anything I guess in that form. The thing that just gets me is that little bit of shadow on the right, which is so common with cross tattoos. I mean, you look up cross tattoo. Yeah. I mean, they are pretty common. Pretty common to get that Latin cross that is shaded slash 3D, I guess. Again, I'm not a tattoo person, so if my lingo is off, please correct me in the chat. But yeah. Anyway, we'll move over, but keep the dominant hand, the non-dominant hand thing, because I thought that was interesting. About the tattoos, and that being, and they claim, if anybody's wondering, one of the reasons is, especially around the arm, is if I'm right-handed, and if I get like a tattoo, and especially if I'm a worker, landscaper, whatever, apparently it says that you can cause it to fade and stuff like that. Again, I'm no tattoo expert, so please all take this with a grain of salt. Ooh, Celtic dagger. Not sure exactly what that looks like, but yeah. Arrest page. So, but I think obviously just a tattoo in general is huge. I mean, I know that's already been kind of known, but if you can kind of help narrow it down to say a sword or cross, I think that would definitely help. How tall could be the intruder? 5'8" to 5'9". They did that by, well, one of the things I suggested in the with the green hoodie. Why don't you just go level the bricks in the archway, and then the Google never that. I'm trying to find where he's walking here, but I don't know if you guys remember. It's funny. Before all this, well, it wasn't very much before. I think this was just barely starting. The video had just been out, but I was covering Green Hoodie in the Sebastian case, and we were trying to kind of figure out the average height of that person, and they walked near not an arch but a pillar with different bricks, and I'm like, well, why don't you just go out there? Somebody can just go out there and measure the bricks, and take a photo, especially with the measure, and then you could just line up the bricks to where the head, where he's standing up. And obviously it's not going to be like exact, but you get it down to a couple inches, and so they believe he's 5'8" to 5'9", which I think is great. Now, of course, Tommaso, as far as this person, Tommaso appears to be like 6 foot. Do we know his exact height by chance? Anybody know? I know that the bandmates are kind of, been on people's radar as well. They're a little bit shorter, and at least one, maybe the other. There's 2 others besides Tommaso. But it's really hard to see their tattoos or if they have any. I get my shots in my non-dominant heart because I don't use it much. Yeah, he's over 6 feet. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the Wi-Fi jammer. And is a Wi-Fi jammer or a walkie-talkie? Maybe we'll do a poll on this. See where you guys land. Let me get this ready. Okay, perfect. Actually,
Analyzing the cell phone.
So there is still digital evidence that you guys are waiting on to.
Okay, so I'm gonna play this. I'm I was able to freeze a couple of frames that you can see the device a little bit better. And of course, in the negative, in both versions, actually, you can see what appears to be the device in his right sweater hoodie pocket there. I guess it's a sweater. We clearly can see the antenna sticking out. That's been shown before. So, it comes down to, is it a Wi-Fi jammer, which they do, at least some of the models I've seen have an antenna. Some have many antennas. And then, of course, walkie-talkies. And so we'll go over both the arguments on those. And then I'll go over one of the latest things I discovered with the still image that I came across, which is coming up in here. So I'll put this full screen real quick. If you can, hit that like button. I appreciate everybody taking the time out of their Friday night to watch. Hopefully you guys are finding this interesting. I love breaking down surveillance footage. I seem to have some sort of knack to it. And I'm always trying to think outside the box of things to look for. So anyway, let's play look at the Wi-Fi jammer versus a walkie-talkie, the pros and cons on both, and then we'll do a poll, and then I'll give my my theory on it. So here is the full screen real quick.
Well, we're analyzing all the time, yes.
We also.
So I've gone over the order of clips and the still image as seen here, where obviously I believe, and I think everybody agrees, the still image clearly came first, and it's a question of whether was this taken approximately 3 hours before this video on the right was recorded, when somebody doesn't have a subscription to the Google Nest camera. It allegedly claims that it can only record in up to 3 hours, and then it rewrites itself. Or was this still frame taken from days prior? There's still no official answer as far as I know. And both of these incidents showed that at the very least, this suspect or suspects came at two different times, whether it was 2 different nights or the same night. And I think this clearly shows, in my opinion, that this person likely had a Wi-Fi jammer. Because typically, even if without a subscription, Nancy Guthrie did not only have a phone, but she had an Apple Watch. And usually, if there is any kind of motion detected, she should have been alerted not only on one device, but both devices if she had the app on them. And she wouldn't need a hearing aid to see a text message saying, hey, you had somebody show up on your phone. But clearly, she did not get these, or I'm sure the family would have mentioned that, or even law enforcement. And also, it comes down to the camera that she had, which she had the Google Nest camera that's battery operated, which is, unfortunately, this camera is one of the most vulnerable cameras that are out there because it's not hardwired, and that's a big issue.
Or even just a video doorbell. Eventually, these guys will pick houses that have a system that can be easily defeated, and a Wi-Fi or a wireless jammer will probably one thing that they will use. And will pick houses that have Wi-Fi cameras first. Just knowing the brands or looking at your branded security yard sign or window stickers, which I highly discourage, they already know if you're using Wi-Fi cameras. This is why I'm making this video on how to make your security cameras not susceptible to Wi-Fi jammers. Blink Nest cameras.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting. This guy's kind of an expert in this field, and his information is very interesting about this particular Ring camera. And I didn't even think about this part as in, oh, let me find it here. Did she have a sign out there? Oh, I need to pull up Google Map real quick. Do we know, was there a sign that said she had like Google Nest? Does anybody know? Oops. My fat fingers here. Because as he just said right there, intruders will look for if they have a Wi-Fi one, like that sign you just saw in the video. I don't see anything. Is there anything in the front? When's this taken? November 2025. So this is pretty recent. I don't see any signage here. I don't think so. No, not you saw. Okay. I did think that was kind of interesting. Yeah, let me play this part again. This is really interesting because this is actually kind of everybody should know, especially if you or somebody has one of those signs out. Think it, especially these particular signs. I'll play this first and then I'll mention what he's talking about because I think this is kind of like saying like, hey, you could jam my stuff or you could cause issues.
Nest Cam battery, you're kinda out of luck because signal jammers will both jam the motion notification and also the recordings from being uploaded to the cloud. So you will not have anything. And as to the Nest Cam,
He did not clips. Still no, he did not wired.
First. Or even just a video
right
doorbell. Eventually, these guys will pick houses that have a system that can be easily defeated, and a Wi-Fi or a wireless jammer will probably one thing that they will use. And will pick houses that have Wi-Fi cameras first. Just knowing the brands or looking at your branded security yard sign or window stickers, which I highly discourage, they already know if you're using.
So I guess what he's saying is some of these signs are basically saying like, hey, I've got, you're thinking you're like, hey, I've got security, I've got Ring Cam, but, typical Ring is Wi-Fi, whereas other surveillance, trying to think of a company off the top of my head, and I can't think of one. It's at the top of my tongue. But the other ones that are, not just Ring camera, but, you got multiple cameras easily hooked up to a system, those are hardwired. And those are much harder, almost impossible to be able to they're less vulnerable or practically non-vulnerable versus these wireless where they are more vulnerable to, say, a wireless jammer, which I do think is kind of interesting. And then this particular camera she had was a battery one, which is interesting. So even though there was a jammer, if there was a jammer, it could still record. But now, after looking at more videos, apparently it says if a jammer could have been used, but it would have been most likely the footage we had seen. It would have been almost kind of like scrambled if it was being used at the time we're seeing him interact. Because there's a radio frequency that is being sent out, and that causes the picture or video to get kind of the signal to kind of get scrambled. So that is an argument to say that maybe this wasn't a Wi-Fi jammer. But I know that there was also reports that one or more neighbors that live nearby did report claimed some kind of network outage. So that is interesting. Oh, did she have ADT? So did she have ADT? Is that not working? Oh, a new system. Yeah. Yes, and that's very important, Carolyn. Yeah, great.
Internal
Great
storage on
comment
the
there.
camera itself, that if the Wi-Fi signal is lost, it is still able to record the event. Now, you will not get any notifications, but the recording should be there.
So that's what I found interesting, is because she didn't get any notifications. Now, it could be that she had notifications turned off, which I really find odd why they had those turned off if there wasn't a Wi-Fi jammer used. But if she did have notifications, then that would be a sign that there was some kind of Wi-Fi jammer used, because it would have blocked the notification. But yeah, it still would have recorded. But it, again, reading and looking at more videos, it did say that when these are being used, it can, because they're using radio frequencies. This happens with police officers with their scanners. That because there's a lot of obviously radio frequencies coming from all directions that sometimes it interferes with their equipment. So it's kind of, pros and cons to whether there was this individual saying here the net is using one or not. But then let's get to the footage, and I think, well, let's start up the voting and see where people stand. But yeah, but see, people keep mentioning that, but technically, hearing aid or not, like when you no matter what, if you got a notification, it's like getting a. And I'm gonna break my phone in front of you guys. You would still get a notification. So even if she had her hearing aids out, eventually she'd come back to her phone, or if she's got her Apple Watch on, right? Eventually, she would look at it. So yeah, hearing aid or not, it should, technically, if there was alerts that went out and there wasn't, they weren't turned off, the notifications, they should still be on there, right? Now, again, I've never had one of these systems, so I'm still, certainly not an expert in this field at all. Somewhere I was going with this. But yeah, if someone knows in chat, let me know. I would think still it would be, it would still be on her phone later on. And I think we would have heard something about that, like maybe from the family or law enforcement, that like one or more of her devices had showed up that there was motion detected. If it wasn't disabled on her notifications. But remember, David, they came earlier too, right? The still image. Don't forget that the still image. Sorry, trying to find one. In my opinion, it came at the very least 3 hours before. Some people think it's another day. And again, I'm not an expert, so I can't say, but from what I understand, from the last known recording event with someone that's a non-subscriber, it can only record 3 hours back, and then it records over itself. And this would really line up with that time where it's almost like someone new, because this would put it around 10 p.m. or a little bit before, depending on how early they got back that second time. So this is kind of the one, like, because clearly this camera recorded. This camera is set up to only record. It's not 24/7 recording. It only records when there's motion detected. So this still image means it was triggered. So keep that in mind. So this, in my opinion, and the lights were not on. I think, and I know people mention the full moon, and I do think that's a great point. But running through AI, I'm trying to find the clips and the still. There we go. With how much the shadow is casted, and the moon would have been at that time at 147. It would have been, if I recall, again, this is about a week ago that I looked this up, but it would have been up like mid sky-ish. So I would agree that it definitely helped lit up, but in my opinion, I do think that those front porch lights are now on versus where it is just completely dark. Assuming this is the same day, right? So now we'll go to the counter argument about it not being a jammer and being a walkie-talkie, which is also interesting because then that would oops, wrong button. That would imply that there was likely two people involved. I mean, why else would you have a walkie-talkie? Actually, while I'm typing this out, I'll just let this play. I'm not sure. Those, in my opinion, that this person likely had a Wi-Fi jammer, because typically, even if without a subscription, Nancy Guthrie did not only have a phone, but she had an Apple Watch. And usually, if there is any kind of motion detected, she should have been alerted not only on one device, but both devices if she had the app on them. And she wouldn't need a hearing aid to see a text message saying, hey, you had somebody show up on your phone. But clearly, she did not get these, or I'm sure the family would have mentioned that, or even law enforcement. And also, it comes down to the camera that she had, which she had the Google Nest camera that's battery operated, which is, unfortunately, this camera is one of the most vulnerable cameras that are out there because it's not hardwired, and that's a big issue. Mesh static?
Just a video doorbell. Eventually, these guys will pick how.
Okay. Is that someone in the chat or? Oh, what is this? This better not be anything bad. I know it wouldn't be. I know my mods would never do that. Oh, mesh. I want to do meta. Meshtastic. Meshtastic. Oh, is that a brand? A mesh. I'm gonna say like mustache. A meshtastic man. You guys don't make it easy on me. Device is a low-powered open-source radio node, often used for low-raw technology that enables off-grid text-based messaging and GPS tracking without cellular service or internet. So, okay, so this is kind of like a walkie-talkie, but using whatever LoRa watch, which obviously stands for something. Off-grid text-based. They operate independently of cell towers or Wi-Fi, Interesting. Yeah, I mean, that is interesting. Standalone nodes. Interesting. So I use Bluetooth. Ideal for hiking, skiing, emergencies, areas with poor connectivity. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, if we're leaning towards something like that, definitely. Um okay. Finally someone listened. Yeah, I agree, David. I agree. I think it's from the same day, and I think because, like I said, if you look at non-subscribers, they have that 3 hour window, and man, if you line that up, it's almost like they knew that she was going to be gone, and that person showed up 3 hours before, just before she was coming home, and I think the intention was is they probably were to just take that uh the device off the first time they showed up, but for some reason they failed, and I've shown in my videos that it's clear that between the still image and the videos, that's another thing we found on this channel is when you line them up, they don't line up perfectly. He or they clearly when trying to disable it for the first time, whether it was 3 hours before or the day prior, whatever night prior, they clearly tampered with it enough to where it changed its angle just ever so slightly that you can clearly see that the tiles don't line up. Everything doesn't quite line up if you were to just because I mean if they're both static shots, you should just be able to overlap and everything line up perfectly, but it doesn't. It was clearly tampered with that first time when they came in, and for some reason they did not succeed. All right, so moving on to the argument. Okay, well, one last thing. But I actually now kind of looking at this, I think this is more of an argument of a walkie-talkie. But oops. So here I played with uh, some of the video. Um, I try. uh, yeah, there's some that are pretty. Oh, that's embarrassing. Long range. That makes sense. Wow. But here we go. Okay, so now the argument to that, and then if you're coming in late, we'll touch on because I wanted to save the tattoo for last because I thought that'd be a big topic to talk about. If you miss that, we'll recap it at the end. So here we can clearly see, an antenna of some sort sticking out. I mean, there's just no question. I mean, I really don't know what else that could be. I mean, there's always, it antenna to something. But when he turns, we can see the device. And of course, there are, a Wi Fi jammer there's multiple different versions of Wi Fi jammers. One that kind of looks like a walkie talkie, So I guess it's kind of tough. But this one right here, it is almost as if you can actually see the interface, which none of the Wi-Fi jammers that I've seen have like kind of like an interface, right? Like an LED or some kind of screen on it. Almost like you could see that right there. And you can see the square. Now I believe this is the backpack strap. It's kind of come down, but the uh antenna that's sticking out is kind of being blocked by the backpack there. But you'll see here in just a minute, it'll light up again. Um, Again, I could see it being a jammer. Um, but one of the things that I missed when, because obviously I released a video earlier. If you saw that, I kind of argued it towards it being a jammer. I saw a couple of videos where they talked about how the radio frequency works with these jammers, and what they said is, uh, this would be the argument that is not a Wi-Fi jammer, is the fact that as I was saying earlier, is it sending radio frequencies out. So this video, if it was being Wi-Fi jammed, it technically should be kind of like glitchy. It shouldn't be perfect. It should have some kind of distortion, cut out, stuff like that. And we don't have that. So that would be kind of one of many arguments, as well as a lot of the Wi-Fi jammers you see. There's the one that I've seen that kind of looks like a regular walkie-talkie. There's another one that has a bunch of antennas. And then there's a bunch of them that are really small, that look like almost like Apple Watches, like the one that was shown in that video. So I don't know. I kind of now lean more towards this being a walkie-talkie, which then if he has a walkie-talkie of some kind of sort, or like what you guys mentioned in the chat, then obviously we then would have communication with a second individual. But I think with that negative view here, in a couple of these shots, you can definitely see the rectangular thing, which obviously, could go both ways there. If it wasn't a walkie-talkie, it was a jammer. Yeah, when you break it down that way, yeah. Let's see where the poll's at. Polls kind of like almost even, but a little bit more walkie-talkie, almost 100 votes. 27% think it's a Wi-Fi jammer, 33 walkie-talkie, and then 40 not sure. Oh, B Rose, that is very sweet comment. My mind and ears are really paying attention. You're one of three people I absolutely appreciate. That is so sweet. Thank you for your diligence in the Nancy Guthrie case. That is, you made my night. That is, that is so awesome. Thank you so much. And I'm assuming your argument would be if it was a jammer, we. Well, see, that's the thing is, again, it would be nice to see what examples of what a jammer would do to, especially this particular device, right? So we would know, like, does it just wipe it Or is it there's some video, but it's, staticky or whatever because there's radio frequency being shot at it? I mean, obviously, yes, you would want it. I would think you would probably use it as you're walking up. But yeah. Okay, let's go left hand, right hand. I want to get your thoughts on this. So, tattoo. It's on his right wrist, right? Now, according to multiple, as we researched, people typically, when it comes to their arms, typically get it on their non-dominant hand, which is interesting. I thought that was an interesting statistic. So when looking at, and maybe I might just need to do it this way here. Let me do it. Let me grab Nancy Guthrie 2. Nancy Guthrie 2. Nancy Guthrie 2. There we are. I just want to grab these in order here. Take that off. Oh, there it is. There's the ones in order. Curious to see what you guys think. Righty or lefty? Even though the gun is set to be for his right hand. According to that, a couple of different AI searches, people are more known to get a tattoo if it's on their arm, on their non-dominant arm. So curious to know in the chat, is this guy a lefty or a righty? And let me go full screen on this. Let's see. Let me move this. I'm really curious. He uses his right hand to block the camera. Now, if I was walking up to a camera, I'm right-handed. 90% of the population is right-handed. So if we found a lefty, that would be huge because that would exclude 90% of the population instantly. But it's interesting because he uses his right hand and then he starts to, in my opinion, dismantle it with his left hand, where if it was me, it would be reverse if I would be using my dominant hand to do that. Now, maybe it's because the position of the camera where it is more fixated to the right of the porch, that he's just drawn to use his right hand. But notice we see him blocking with his right hand, trying to first take it off. Then we see him use his left hand to pick something up, which, I mean, that's not a big deal, but still interesting. Don't forget those, what appears to be maybe eyes or potentially his the other suspect. And then we have him using the bushes with his left hand now, which appears to be maybe him trying to dismantle it with his right. Curious to know what you guys think in the chat. His gun holster is set to be right-handed if he was to draw it. The walkie-talkie and or jammer is in his right pocket. I don't know. I guess I should have put that in Chat GPT. See as well. Lefty. I always kind of felt right, but it's weird that he comes up using. Because he uses his right hand in the beginning to block it. But then when he does come back, he has the brush in his left hand. I don't know. The other thing is, why is the brush? Why the shrubbery or brush in the first place? Why not just palm the thing? Unless he was trying not to get DNA anywhere around, like the less touching of anything, the less likely of DNA, because clearly he had to have put that flashlight in and out of his mouth at some point, meaning that there had to be some DNA on his hands, I would think. But yeah, let me know. Right-handed, some left-handed with the centered holster. Yeah, I had something sense of it. Everything points to right hands. Yeah. More people right-handed. Yeah. All right. Oh, let's go over the blood, and then I'll retouch on the tattoo one last time, just in case you came in late and missed it. We'll just quickly recap it. But there's something with Joseph Scott Morgan, who I really admire. Where he talks about the blood spatter in a way that I haven't heard anybody mention this before, and I thought it was very interesting. Obviously, we know that there's a little bit of a blood trail. We know it came from some kind of vertical wound, such as like a nosebleed. But he pointed something out that I'm sure maybe it's probably been mentioned. I mean, before, but his insight is great. But if you haven't heard this, this is really fascinating. As well as apparently it always been kind of assumed, or it kind of made it sound like that the mixed DNA inside the home was like some kind of blood mixture with maybe the suspect's DNA. But now they're saying that there is no blood in the home, just some kind of mixed DNA. However, whatever that is, maybe suspect came in contact with like the blanket or pillow that has her DNA and then the suspect's DNA. I don't know. But here is a great analysis from Joseph Scott about what he noticed in the with the blood, and where he thinks, I think he may have mentioned when she may have been struck, which is interesting. That way I can read. Yeah, and that's interesting too. Yeah, it makes you wonder, is she being carried or yeah, that is interesting. No no footprints in the blood at all. All right, here's Joseph Scott here.
Brian, I want your take on what the sheriff had to say about getting definitely closer to a break. But let me just get to Joseph real quick. Joseph, I understand you might have two theories.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, this one's very interesting. Oh, someone. Oh, Luke is suing. Really? Yeah, there's some people that take it a little too far. I mean, it's one thing to kind of speculate, on persons of interest, right? It's gonna happen. And I think some people take it a little way too far that they make statements, or again, I don't know all of what's gone on with that, right? Because I'm working two different cases or covering two different cases. So yeah, I don't know all the fine details, but here's Joseph Scott. This is very, very, very fascinating.
About what may have happened to Nancy that we might not be thinking of.
Well, yeah. I mean, first off, I think that going with what Brian is saying about the blood deposition there in the front at the door, I think that is significant because this is an act of violence, and we have confirmed, or they have confirmed at least, that is Mrs. Guthrie's blood that was deposited there. I have my own thoughts about the nature of the deposition and what it kind of stems from. And that was a sudden taking, if you will. The one shot there where you have that kind of expirated blood that is in that large patch. You've got the larger elements of blood there. That expirated blood, which I think are the tiny little dots right there, that's evidence of somebody probably coughing or sneezing out blood deposition from right there. And this blood is not indicative of, say, having a cut on your hand and it just kind of free falling.
And then you have this other idea about her age and her being a vulnerable victim.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys realize how many cases I've worked over the course of my career in Atlanta? Expirated blood.
So expirated. There we go. Hey, I'm back. So expirated blood. Again, I am no blood expert. Very far from it. Very fascinated with that whole thing. And we used to have a former detective that was a blood spatter analyst. And it's very fascinating because obviously blood spatter can give you a lot of details. But he's talking about this area right here where it's like a spray. And he's saying that is like a cough. So, we always kind of, I think the two main kind of theories was maybe she kind of got cut on one of her hands, and because it's again, a vertical drop, gravity drop, bloodlets, or some kind of nosebleed. But here, this tells a different story. Perhaps maybe he smacked her in the mouth as they were coming out, maybe to get her to comply, or just before they came out. Again, going off the latest updates, allegedly, unless they're trying to keep details about what's inside the house, which I would understand, kind of under wraps. But if this is where it started, that is interesting, like get hit in the mouth and then maybe cut open inside of her mouth or something, cause her to cough up blood like that. That is interesting. Yeah. If you get a broken nose, what do you get blood that goes down? I broke my nose a long time ago, but when I played soccer, and I mean a long time ago. I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, but I found that interesting because that does kind of change up like what did happen right there to cause what he would call like a cough, expirated blood. I'll play this one more time. Again, it's not very long. I love Joseph Scott Morgan. Oh my gosh, he's very very fascinating, smart, and yeah, followed him from the Brian Koberger case. But play this one more time. And we'll touch on Luke just a little bit here in a second.
And, we have confirmed.
Which is, of course, where, we saw the blood drops. And then they opened the door, they went in. There was some speculation that they could be locksmiths, although I'm not sure that really makes any sense. But they were here for about an hour, and then they were gone, Jesse.
Brian, I want your take on what the sheriff had to say about getting definitely closer to a break. But let me just get to Joseph real quick. Joseph, I understand you might have two theories about what may have happened to Nancy that we might not be thinking of.
Well, yeah. I mean, first off, I think that, going with what Brian is saying about the blood deposition there in the front at the door, I think that is significant because this is an act of violence. And, we have confirmed, or they have confirmed at least, that is Mrs. Guthrie's blood that was deposited there. I have my own thoughts about the nature of the deposition and what it kind of stems from. And that was a sudden taking, if you will. The one shot there where you have that kind of expirated blood that is in that large patch. You've got the larger elements of blood there. That expirated blood, which I think are the tiny little dots right there, that's evidence of somebody probably coughing or sneezing out blood deposition from right there. And this blood is not indicative of, say, having a cut on your hand and it just kind of free falling.
And then you have this other idea about her age and her being a vulnerable victim.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys realize how many cases I've worked over the course of my career in Atlanta and New Orleans that involved ransom? Zero. The cases I have worked, elder abuse. I've had people that have taken advantage of the elderly because they knew that they had money and they bum rush them into their house and they snatch them out of there, or they do terrible things like murder inside of the house. She is a much.
Now, from what I understand, I'm sure a lot of you know this, especially if you followed this case, nothing was stolen from inside the home that we know of. Now, of course, that'd be something you would probably want to keep under wraps, especially if you had somebody confessing. You would want to keep details from the public, so that way you have certain things that that the public doesn't know, that only the perpetrators would know. But from what I understand, nothing was stolen. Her purse, right? Everything was there, although there was the ransom, which I do believe, the original ransom is definitely plausible considering the timing of when Savannah Guthrie and the siblings did the video the day before the first deadline. Yeah, I guess you could like sneezing out. Yeah. I think we could probably agree that probably some kind of hit to her face, sadly, which is just terrible. To maybe get her to comply, which is just terrible to think about. Now, Luke, is Luke this person? This one here. Let's see. Do I have it? Everybody's asking about Luke. I know I could pull him up, but I think I have. Don't I have the video of it? Yeah. Oh yeah, this. Let me pull these out anyway. Is it this one? Or is this a different one? Hey, Jenna, good to see you. I don't think there's volume on this one that I recorded. I was just trying to look at the guy's tattoos. Okay, so that was a different one. Okay, so that's a different guy. I was curious about that guy just because he had tattoos. And oh my gosh, like I was trying to see, because we know that there's a tattoo on his right hand, and um, tried everything to find an angle because he was recorded from like 6 different views, and I swear it's like almost impossible, even though he's waving his hands around to find a shot that shows like under his hand. I think there's one where I could see like half the bottom of the wrist. Although, yes, he's tatted all over on the top. I don't see any kind of cross tattoo on that one. Luke Daly. And that was the Range Rover. Yeah, this guy here, which, I mean, looking at him, I mean, yeah, they took his Range Rover. Now, obviously, we have that vehicle. We don't know if that vehicle is involved or not. The one that was caught on the ring cam about 2 miles away or something like that. That was a Kia Soul. If they were connected, again, it is kind of a long shot. So he's suing. I'm assuming he's suing the county sheriff's department. Oh, it's right here. Not really, but I'm assuming that's why he's suing. Is that true? That is a little sus. I've seen some pics. I believe of the same person. Hold on. If you have images, if you can, definitely send them. If you can, via email. That way I can pull them up on my computer. But if this is the same guy, he does have a tattoo on like this side here, kind of here on his right arm. Maybe that's something after this live we'll look into some more, or I'll look into some more. But before we finish up, let me just recap real quick. Just the
Investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky in Tucson again tonight.
The tattoo, if you missed it. And I have a short video if you want to go check that out as well. But again, just trying to think outside the box and look at every angle, but up a little bit, and it almost appears as let me back this up, but there's clearly a tattoo there. And again, be careful for any colored images that you see, because I've seen one, and I had a chance, I would send it to my email so I could show it to you guys. Because for some reason I can't find it via Google at the moment. But there's a colored one, but it shows like there's like these other little tattoo designs, and I could tell that it's some kind of AI recreation. Somebody probably tried to like, hey, color this and interpret this tattoo, and then it kind of reimagined it a little bit. But again, just a quick recap. Uh, you can tell where the edge of the glove is at. So that's one thing to keep in mind. We know the edge of the glove is like here. So whatever that tattoo is, that position, that is likely the top part of whatever the tattoo is of. And considering it is, a rectangular shape, and then you add in that it's got shading in it where it's darker on one side than the other, mixed with one frame, and there's maybe two frames where you can actually see what appears to be more of the tattoo starting to appear. And if you add those all together, let me fast forward, you basically come up with a cross. And what we see in the video is the head of the cross, and it is kind of a again, I'm no tattoo expert because I've never had a tattoo, but it looks like a kind of like a 3D image of what they would call a Latin cross. I think that would be a pretty safe bet and guess. Not to say that is what it is, but I would say that's a pretty good start. Some people had also mentioned that, maybe it could be the top part of a sword. I think that's a great possibility as well, because you would have the handle. You would start to see the hilt, which is basically the part that extends out. If it was a sword, but Latin crosses are very common, and I think if they were able to do any more, the FBI would ever and clean it up even more to kind of figure out that tattoo. Obviously, it's one thing just to know that they have a tattoo, but if you could figure out what the design is or close to that design, I think that would be huge. Deanna, okay. One second, Deanna. Sorry, I'll go back here. Let me just let this play for a second. We're looking at something like this, along with something that's coming out here. But then it also darkens right here in this area. And as we can see over here, although it does kind of look like it cuts over a little bit, I think that may just be kind of the shadowing a little bit. Thank you guys. But if we get rid of those and we just take the outline, I think what we're looking at, plus with the shadow, I think it's going to be no surprise that what I believe we're looking at is some kind of cross tattoo. And we're getting almost what a shaded or a 3D kind of tattoo of the cross. And that makes sense of why it's a little bit darker on the right side, just like this, just the opposite way. Here's another good one that would kind of resemble what we may be looking at, where it's the shadow to make it look more 3D-ish, considering where the wrist is at. I think this is... thank you, Deanna and Hideside. I didn't realize you emailed that to me as well, so thank you, sweetie. again, it's too bad. I don't know if there's any more photos of him. Uh, there. This is one of Luke. This is his right hand. Some kind of cursive name or affiliation of something. 2Ds back to back. So daily. Or is it Dally? I don't know. But yeah, we would need to see, obviously, under his right wrist. That'd be a game changer if we had that. But there's another look at him. He does have the mustache. If I recall, he is somewhere around in that height, right? Does anyone know his approximate height? That was 2020, so he could have gotten a cross tattoo or something like that since. Certainly plausible. Why does this always ask me that? Yeah. I don't know. Interesting. He's 5'8", so he's in there. If there was any video of him, if you could find that right there, that would be a game changer. That'd be a big one. I would say if I was looking for the suspect, I would I'd be looking at all the landscaper associates, and try to find that tattoo. Oh, he did an interview. Interesting. But yeah, I think let's see if there's anything. Let me just type in any updates before we head out. What's this one? Okay, so this is also going back to Wi-Fi jammer versus a walkie-talkie or something like it. Is residents, neighbors, reported experiencing glitches with their internet that evening. And that seems to be internet. Once our close to they discovered a problem with one of the Ring cameras. They also said they couldn't say if they had internet issues. However, one couple living close to Nancy told NBC News on Friday that they discovered a problem with one of the Ring cameras that night. The couple revealed that their property has 4 Ring cameras, and the one nearest to Nancy's home displayed not available when they reviewed footage from the overnight hours on the day Nancy was abducted. Wow. Now, again, I'm not an expert. I read that they're allegedly they don't have a big range, but I don't know. Maybe there's more expensive ones, black market, that have a bigger range on them. That is interesting, though. I mean, they have 4 Ring cameras, and the one nearest to the house was not available. is the range common Wi-Fi jammer? So yeah, 10 to 20 feet. More powerful stationary units up to 100 meters. But that's a stationary. That's like military grade jammer. Yeah, so there's definitely some pros and cons to the whole Wi-Fi jammer. But that is some really weird stuff. Uh, oh, I hate when they add two things together. Yeah, so that's the latest news. Internet outage. But yeah, huh? Oh, that is a. Well, there you go. There you go. Karina, looking. Yep. Why would you need that? Uh, Now one thing I heard though, again, this is where I'd have to do more research. Is the jammer? I guess it all just depends on what kind of jammer you have. Some of the jammers don't technically jam the entire device. Like, uh, it could cause it to be like static. The video doesn't completely go away or anything. It disables the signal, so there's no uh alerts that get sent out from it. Um, and it can distort the video. Um, yeah, but that's a great question. Yeah, that is a great comment. I agree, that is a good one. Yeah. Yep, keep probing. I'll keep like I said, keep looking at the surveillance. You never know what else may be uncovered. I know it's pretty much been dissected.
Investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky.
Left and right. I thought the tattoo was kind of interesting because it is something that obviously is unique to that individual. Unlike the clothing, the backpack, where they believe it's second. Even though they kind of know the brand and believe it could have been gotten at Walmart, it still could have been secondhand given. So it'd be really hard to trace if that's the case. But a tattoo such as this, I may be able to run some more color filters and maybe flush out the tattoo a little bit more. But yeah, I think it's a good possibility that that is the head of a cross. But one last thing. Sorry, just reading. Oh yeah, sure, Rebecca. Yeah, that'd be interesting to look at. Let's see. 6:15. Oh man, gosh, time flies. I've already kind of got 2 hours. I try to keep my lives to an hour and a half, 2 hours. So we'll probably end it there. For those that follow me on the Sebastian Rogers case, likely go live tomorrow. Got some interesting stuff. As you guys know, that 3 a.m. video and also the cemetery footage is stuff that I'm highly interested in. But we may have a vehicle, a potential vehicle that could be potentially be the vehicle that was used at 3 a.m. Potentially, allegedly. I mean, won't know for sure until the case is solved, but I think there's an interesting vehicle that's been brought to my attention that I have not seen before. And the circumstances of where it was at when they saw it and all that, we'll go over tomorrow. So for those with the Sebastian Rogers case, we'll have a very interesting live tomorrow to go over that. I'll probably release some stuff for the patrons and members on that probably tomorrow morning or afternoon. Yeah. But and as always, we'll keep an eye on this case. And yeah, what you guys send me, I'll take a look at for sure. But again, I just want to thank Jazz, Blue Third, Mariska, thank you so much. I missed you, AMBC. I'm sorry. So happy to be a member. Been following Chris and Sebastian Rogers' case. Thank you so much for the 5 months. Almost hitting that 6-month mark. The 6 next to your name. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Helps this channel out so much. Black Witter, good to see you. Member for nearly 30 months now. That is so awesome. God bless you. Thank you guys so much. It really, really, really helps. Tattoo. Yeah, it could be a sword too. Sure. For sure. Same to you, Angel. But thank you to everybody. And then thank you to my wonderful mods, Pocahontas. I appreciate everything you do, and to all my other mods as well. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Friday evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you're at. And we will see you guys tomorrow. I'm trying to end this. Well, it pretty much stayed exactly the same. Wow, we tripled the votes. And it actually stayed right the same. I'm going to end the poll. Wow, that's interesting. 40% not sure. 37, I think it was 37. More people thought it was a walkie-talkie than a jammer, which I've gone back and forth on. I lean more towards a walkie-talkie now, after learning a little bit more about how the jammers work. But I think there's definitely arguments to both sides for sure. Thank you guys. Thank you to everybody being so respectful in the chat. God bless you guys. And we will see you guys tomorrow with the Sebastian Rogers case. And here is the pet outro. God bless.